And Gabby Williams were slow to get up after a collision underneath the basket. Here's what happened.
Oh, that is a major collision for the two of them. They both knock heads. It took them both some time to get to their feet.
I've seen a lot in this league. I was there for the fights in the tunnel, the last-second shots that made careers, and the injuries that ended them. I've seen grown women cry in the locker room from pressure, from joy, from pain. But nothing, and I mean nothing, hits you like the sound of a mother's heart breaking from the stands. And that's the sound we all heard, whether we knew it or not, when Lexie Hull's head collided with Gabby Williams. They'll sell you a story about a warrior who got back up, a tough-as-nails player who shook it off for the team. But I was there, I saw it happen, and that's not the real story. The real story is about the woman who had to watch it, the mother living every parent's worst nightmare, and the crushing emotional cost of being celebrated for the one thing that terrifies your family the most, your willingness to break yourself for a game. We're going to uncover the story they don't want you to see, the hidden breakdown behind the heroic comeback. Stick with me, because this is the side of the game that gets buried, and it's the most important one. To understand the weight of this moment, you have to understand the pressure cooker the Indiana Fever were in. They were desperate, fighting for their playoff lives, sitting in that precarious 8th spot with Seattle right ahead of them. Every game, every possession was a battle for survival. And to make it worse, they were walking into this fight completely decimated by injuries. No Caitlin Clark, no Sophie Cunningham, a whole line of guards sitting on the bench in street clothes. They were the underdogs, wounded, and everyone knew it. In the league, when a team is wounded, the Sharks start to circle. You can feel it. The hits get a little harder, the fouls a little more aggressive. And then it happened. First quarter, a scramble for a loose ball under the basket. It's a play that happens 100 times a game, but this one was different. The sound was sickening, a hollow crack that echoed through the arena as Lexie Hull and Gabby Williams smashed heads. Both players dropped to the floor like stones, clutching their heads in pure agony. This wasn't a basketball play anymore. It was a car crash, and for a moment, the entire building went silent. The game, the points, the playoff race, it all vanished. All that was left was the sight of two players motionless on the hardwood. Now imagine you're Jamie Hull, Lexie's mom. You're not in the arena tonight. Maybe you're watching on a TV hundreds of miles away. You can't be there to hold your daughter's hand, to see her eyes, to know if she's okay. All you have is a screen. And on that screen you see your child, your baby girl, go down hard. She's not getting up. The cameras zoom in and you see her walk to the locker room holding her head. Then the replay comes, over and over, the brutal skull-cracking impact. In her own words, Jamie has said, it's stressful being a mom and not being there. Stressful, that's the word she used. I can tell you, having seen my own mother's face in the crowd after a bad fall, stressful doesn't even begin to cover it. It's a unique, soul-crushing terror that no one talks about. The story they sold us was what happened next. The Warriors return. Hull comes back out in the second quarter to a standing ovation, a massive swollen knot already forming on her forehead. She immediately starts playing like a woman possessed, diving for loose balls, grabbing rebounds, and even hitting a clutch three. Her teammates were in awe. Aaliyah Boston called her the definition of tough, and she was. But we have to ask the question no one in that arena wanted to ask. What is the cost of being that tough, and who is paying the price? Lexie herself gave us a glimpse into the horror. She admitted she was dazed. She admitted she felt her face and could feel the knot growing. And then she said the single most terrifying thing I have ever heard a player say.
Play.
Well, I didn't know exactly what happened when it happened. It was kind of just like a clash. But looking at the video, it just, Gabby and I ran into each other. Unfortunate, unlucky. I think we both have knots on our heads, so we both kept playing, so it's all right.
Were you pretty dazed when you...
Yeah, I think it's more of like, what just happened, big collision. I just need some time. Felt my face, felt a growing knot, so that doesn't feel...
On the bench, was everybody just kind of staring at your forehead directly?
I knew, yeah. Everyone's like, you look beautiful. I'm like, I know I look insane. But it honestly looks better now than it did when it first happened, so hopefully this goes down quick.
Did you glance up at the video board to see it? Did you get a look at it?
No, I could see it. looking out, like I could see it just from my own eyes. So I didn't need to look anywhere. I knew it was going to be big.
No way. So it's in your peripheral vision?
Yes. It was literally like sticking out. I mean, it's still big right here, but it was bigger and I could see it. So they brought it down a little.
Your teammates, your coach, the GM, everybody's just kind of talking about your toughness, I guess. So there's not really a good way to ask that question, but if you could just talk to me about that toughness and where that comes from.
I mean, if I can play, if I feel like I can play, you know, whether or not I look good or not isn't the problem. So, yeah, I think for me, it's just the team is the most important thing, getting wins the most important thing, and if I can contribute in any way I can, that's what I'm going to do. So if it's playing a little injured, playing a little hurt, that is what it is.
I could see it looking out from my own eyes. She could see the swelling in her own peripheral vision. It was a knot so massive, so grotesque, that it was literally obstructing her view. Multiple sources called it tennis ball sized. And yet they let her go back in. This is where a mother's stress turns into pure, gut-wrenching fear. Your child is visibly, horrifically injured, and the system that is supposed to protect her sends her right back into the fire. Analysts, fans, former players, the outrage was immediate. Words like complete negligence on the training staff started flying around. How, for player safety, do you allow that? Every parent watching that game had to be screaming at their TV. This isn't toughness. This is a betrayal of trust. But the real horror, the detail that gets lost in the headlines, came from Jamie herself. After the game, her daughter, the warrior everyone was cheering for, was so hurt that her mother revealed she couldn't align her mouth right, her teeth weren't aligned. Let that sink in. Her skull was impacted so hard that her entire jaw was out of alignment. This is the stuff of nightmares. This is the reality that Jamie Hull was dealing with while the rest of the world was posting highlight clips of Lexie's grit. And it's why she has had to become what so many WNBA moms become, a fierce online defender of her own child. Because the hits on the court are only half the battle. Then come the hits online. The trolls, the haters, the armchair coaches who criticize and attack these players without a second thought for the families reading every word. Jamie Hull has been in the trenches, fighting back, defending Lexie, defending her family. It's an exhausting 24/7 job that nobody signs up for. You're not just a mom anymore. You're a social media warrior, a PR agent, a crisis manager. All while your heart is in your throat every single time your daughter steps on the court. It's a pressure that can break anyone, and it's the secret, crushing weight that every single family in this league carries. The coaches and teammates see a competitor. They see someone they can rely on. Coach Stephanie White's words were filled with emotion, and you could feel her respect for Lexie. But listen to how she describes it.
I mean, that was disgusting. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I mean, it's who she is. You know, she's just a tough young woman who battles every possession, and you know, you can never tell if Lexie if she's hurt, if she's injured, if she goes down, if she gets back up. She just always has the same expression, and she just plays her butt off. And you know, I'm thankful that it wasn't worse, and thankful that she was able to come back. But she really kind of epitomizes the toughness and the grit of this one that's been most affected by all of our injuries. You know, all of the point guards that know how to get her the ball and how they get it to her. And it's not just getting her the ball, it's where you get it to her, you know, getting it to her on time, on target, you know, thinking one pass ahead, you know, all that matters. And I thought today, her aggressiveness with the ball in her hands to the rim, getting into defenders, playing low to high instead of high to low. When she plays like that, you know, there's nobody that can stop her. And, you know, she set the tone for us, really on both ends. You know, she had the NECA assignment as well and set the tone for us on both ends. And, you know, she was terrific.
I mean, that was disgusting. Disgusting. The coach called the hit disgusting. She praised Lexie for being unshakable, for never showing she's hurt. But that's the problem, isn't it? In this league, you're praised for hiding your pain. You're rewarded for putting on a mask. I've been there. You get a stinger, you sprain an ankle, you get your bell rung, and the first thing you learn is to put on the mask. You tell everyone you're fine. You do it for your team. You do it for your coach. You do it so you don't lose your spot. But your family, they see through the mask. They're the ones who see you after the game, when the adrenaline is gone, when you can't hide the limp or the pain in your eyes. They're the ones who bear the true emotional burden. The players on the court saw a hero. They saw someone who inspired them to a massive season-saving win.
The string of games, beginning of a string of games against the teams you're competing for a playoff spot against. Did this game feel more important in that regard? And I guess how big was it to get a win in this one?
Yeah, I mean, going into this game, we talked about that this was going to be a big game for us, considering the standings where Seattle was. But, you know, going into the West Coast trip, I mean, right now we're just going to be focused on LA. That's kind of been our motto this entire season, is just focus on the game ahead of you, be where your feet are. And so starting tomorrow, we're going to be looking at LA. But, I mean, this next string of games definitely important for us, but we got to take it one game at a time.
Gets hit in the head there at the beginning of the game, comes back in. If you could just speak to her toughness and what it meant seeing her fight through what sure was not very pleasant.
I feel like Lexie's the definition of tough.
Yes.
I think when you just think of her as a player, the way that she hustles, she likes to get loose balls, extra offensive possessions. That's what she does. I mean, she got hit, she came back and just continued to contribute again. Was a pest on defense, just making her presence felt, offensive rebounds, and that's just who Lexie is.
I feel like she's the definition of tough. That's what Aaliyah Boston said. And she's right. But for every person calling her tough, there's a mother at home praying that she doesn't have to be. Praying that for one night she could just be safe. We celebrate these women for being warriors, but we forget that every warrior has a family back home, terrified they won't come back from the battle in one piece. The victory against Seattle was incredible. They dominated. They climbed into 6th place and completely flipped the narrative. They celebrated like they'd won a championship.
First home game, got a dub, let's get it. Big dub. Let's go. Keep it down. Woo! Dubs. It's giving. Really great stuff. That's the most complete game we put together in a long time. We made more free throws than they attempted. Yo, hey, that is a difference maker for us, and that will be a difference maker for us. 22 assists on 36 made field goals. Total team effort.
AB, 1,000th career rebound. Fastest player in Fever history to do so.
Wow.
And Kel set a new franchise record for most points in a single season.
Wow. You're a dog. Let me just add to it.
And they deserved to. But while those players were spraying water and celebrating a hard-fought win, Lexie Hull was likely on the phone, trying to hear through a distorted connection if her daughter's teeth were okay, trying to gauge from her voice how much pain she was really in. That's the disconnect, that's the hidden heartbreak of this life. The team gets the win, the fans get the show, and the family gets the worry, the fear, and the long nights wondering if it's all worth it. So the next time you see a player take a hard fall and bounce right back up, remember the cost. Remember that for every fan cheering, there's a parent in the stands whose heart just stopped. The Indiana Fever might have saved their season on that night, but a piece of Lexie Hull's peace of mind was shattered. And it raises a terrifying question that looms over this entire league. As the game gets more physical, as the online hate gets more vicious, how many more families will be pushed to their breaking point? What happens when a mother's love and a mother's fear finally collide? What happens when she finally says, "I can't watch anymore"? That's the real cliffhanger. And I'm afraid we're getting closer and closer to finding out the answer. And believe me, what I'm starting to hear about how some families are being told to just deal with it behind the scenes, it's a story you're not going to want to miss.